Google.
Once Google bought YouTube, all this shit went to. Oh, there we go. Now we're live. Fuck you, Google. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Keyboard Warriors are live. This is episode 83. Also, our end of the year award episode. I know everyone else has already had theirs for the most part. So we're gonna, do a little bit of catching up here. My name is Eddie Law. I am your host. Joining me today, of course, just out of California, and Fred Kerber will be in shortly. So let's just we'll knock out 219. We'll talk a little bit of controversy here and there, and then we'll do our end of the year picks here. All right, starting off with the we'll just talk main card. I mean, as far as like the for UFC 219, I mean, any fight outside of the main card stick out to you?
On the undercard, honestly, the only thing I really did enjoy was watching Marvin Vettori. Mm-hmm. They fought to a draw, correct? If I remember correct.
That was weird.
I don't know about you, but I kind of saw Marvin really taking over that
Mm-hmm.
fight. I don't know if it's justified that he may have won that fight, but I think that, I think it's a close enough fight, and he showed a lot of different skills in that fight. And, young up-and-coming guy, I think this draw kind of didn't really hurt him, but really didn't help him in the end. But definitely it was a good fight. So if you guys didn't catch that, that's definitely one of the fights I would recommend to go back and watch.
Look, had he drawn against a top 5 guy, top 10 guy, I would be like, yeah, it wasn't a bad draw. But he drew against Amari Akhmedov, who's not even ranked, right? So it's like, correct. It's kind of like a whatever draw. Anyway, fuck it. I'll go through the results. And then, so starting off with the night, Tim Elliott gets an anaconda choke on Mark De La Rosa, which is pretty much expected for him to be able to run through him. Luis Smolka loses a decision to Nicolau Pereira, or Mateus Nicolau. What up?
No, I was saying, is it time for Smolka to move back? He dropped in weight, right, for this fight, so I guess it's time for him to move back up because he really didn't look good in that fight, man.
Well, no, he fights at 125 normally anyway.
He just looked awful in that fight, man. I don't even know what to say, what he could fix to erase that loss. That was a terrible loss.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I mean, he moves it to 135, and you got guys that are way more powerful than he is and stronger and probably better technique, honestly. So, who knows, man? That might be it for him too, because he's constantly just win, loss, and then loss, and all that shit. So, all right, then what up?
No, the cleaned up version of Luis Smolka. Remember, I don't know if you heard that he had a kind of an alcoholic problem. He was drinking a lot, and he kind of quote unquote cleaned up for this fight. So is this the best Luis Smolka we're gonna get? Like, wow, that's really bad.
If it is, that's that is really bad. You kind of have nowhere to go from there. But I know he has a kid and everything, so I'm sure he had to clean up for that reason too. Anyway, all right. As Jesse said, Marvin Vettori draws against Omari Akhmedov. Then Miles Jury gets the decision win over Rick Glenn. Michael O gets the decision win over Khalil Rountree, which no one expected really. I thought Khalil Rountree would have kicked the shit out of Michael, but here's the thing about it, dude. When Khalil went up in the weigh-in for the fake weigh-ins, he looked so uninterested, dude. And I was like, man, this is so rock cold Bisping, and it ended up kind of being that way. So, humble yourself, motherfuckers. Like, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah, you would think, especially if he was training for who was it? He was training again to fight. Who was the guy that he was supposed to fight?
I don't remember. It was a big fight. I can't remember the name.
It was that kickboxing guy, correct, or the Muay Thai guy?
Not fuck. I can't remember.
Anyway, it was a big fight for him, and you're right. Like, he just seemed so disinterested and not like he took for granted what Michael was going to bring in. I mean, he brought the pain in the first round and then just completely just got beat, man. That was horrible.
Oh, he was supposed to fight Gokhan Saki. That's right.
There you go. Yeah.
That would have been a crazy fight. And even Khalil Rountree kept saying that he was really bummed out he didn't get to fight him, even after after losing to Michael. All right. Then it's kicking off the main card with Neil Magny taking a decision win over Carlos Condit. We were talking about that before the show, man. Carlos looked like he was so tentative and his timing was way off, and he just didn't look like Carlos Condit. You know what I mean? He had flashes, but nothing you would say like, yeah, this guy's ready to jump back in it. But you were saying before that you just don't think he wants to do it anymore.
Yeah, I forget who was who I was listening to. They said he looked really gun shy. I think it was Kenny Florian, and I agree. I mean, just look like he wanted to engage in a very like his previous fight before us. Who was it? It was God, what's his name? Lawler against Lawler. You know, it just seems like once you have one of those fights, you kind of don't want to get into one of those like just blood and guts fight anymore. And it just seemed like he knew he was in there and he was trying to get his timing, but he didn't want to expose himself like that anymore. And it's not, you know, it's just not the way he fights. It's not his style. So, I mean, if it's not in him to get in those fights anymore, I think it's time for him to just go away.
Fred Kirby, what's up, man?
What's happening, big dog? What the fuck are y'all talking about?
Talking about Neil Magny and Carlos kind of looking like shit.
Yeah, Carlos. Sad night that was when Carlos Condit's taking the L to the likes of Neil Magny.
Yeah.
I thought he looked. I won't say that he looked gun shy, but I think he looked like, God damn. What the fuck, man? Like on cue. What the fuck? It's like it's always this one prick. What the fuck am I saying? Oh, Carlos Condit. He looked fucking off. Like he looked like ring rust was real to him. Like he looked aggressive, but he threw a couple flying knees that were like way off that I felt like would have maybe landed 2 years ago or some shit. He just looked rusty.
Yeah, he didn't look good. And look like his timing was off. I think we were talking about that before. That timing, taking time off will kill your timing. And I think Jimmy Smith had like a tweet about that, and it was just pretty like crazy to see it happen. So sucks for Condit to come back to on a loss to Neil Magny of all people. After that, the hype train kind of derailed on Cynthia Calvillo losing to Carla Esparza by decision. He said, and Jesse, you saw this shit. Cynthia looked surprised that she lost the fight. I thought she handily lost the fight, and she looked surprised when they called Carla's name.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is that her corner wasn't being realistic with her. I mean, you know, I guess that's always the problem. You know, your corner is always telling you, yeah, you're doing good. You know, the game plan's working and whatever. But yeah, I just don't see how she thought she won that fight. I thought it was a clear win for Esparza, even though not happy with that. But, you know, I mean, she just had the better game plan and she executed way better. And Calvillo just really didn't switch up what she was trying to do, and she just kind of fell into the same trap over and over again, you know. So tough loss for her, right?
It's a crappy loss, and again, young, and she, the hype train might be a little derailed now, but she can still she'll be fine. She's young. Meanwhile, you know, Carla Esparza there, Fred. She gets a win over an up and coming fighter. Is this someone that you care really to see in a title fight?
Nope. Congratulations that she won that fight, but that don't do a whole lot for me, Jack. I still think Carla Esparza is an overrated shitbird.
But don't you wouldn't find it interesting the only person to have beaten Rose in the last the last title fight, Carla Esparza coming back and maybe regaining her title? That would be an interesting play there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to see Carla get one more win under her belt before we started giving that story too much credence. I mean, I get what you're saying for sure, but you know,
give Rose an opportunity to avenge that loss.
Yeah, maybe, but isn't Rose defending against somebody first?
See, that's what I heard too, but I can't. It was like a rumor. Now I can't remember the name.
I thought they were going to do the winner of one of the upcoming fights. I forget which one it was. I think on whoever Andrade is fighting.
Yeah, well, either way. Or Esparza needs another win for all of me.
Definitely. All right. Then Jesse calls it right. Dan Hooker gets the guillotine choke win over Mike Diakese or Diakese? Casey? Diakese? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Diakese. What did you see there, Jesse, about Dan Hooker?
He's just one of those guys that's like a Damian Maia specialist that, you know, if you leave your neck out there, he's going to take it. And it just seemed like with the flashy stuff, eventually he was going to get a little sloppy and get caught. So I was shaking in my boots for the first 2 rounds, man. He wasn't looking too good there, but eventually he found that power guillotine and, you know, really put it on Diakese. So for me, right?
I guess, and you know, Fred with Mark Diakese losing. I mean, he had an MVP-ish type of I guess shine to him. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know what to do with him.
I mean, it makes sense a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He had that flashy type of striking style, but like fucking, you know, Jesus called it, man. Dan, the fucking Hangman Hooker is a crafty veteran, is always kind of the antidote for that fucking flashy style a lot of times. So I would write him off, but definitely I think Dan Hooker might have been a bit too crafty of a veteran for him right now.
Yeah. Real quick, working on some shit. Dan Hooker's plus Dan Hooker's been around for a minute, so you know.
I didn't think he was gonna win that fight, though. To be honest with you, I thought the dude was gonna lose. But now, having watched the fight played out, it's one of those deals where you look back and you're like, of course he did. That makes, of course he did that. That's how that fight played out.
Exactly. And then the co-main event, we have people calling for Khabib Nurmagomedov, who got a decision win over Edson Barbosa. It was a very dominant, in my opinion, pretty goddamn dominant win. You know, that he got here, but now people are calling for Khabib to skip, you know, to skip over Ferguson and get the fight against Conor. Fred, is that something you're looking forward to?
Listen, whether I would like to see that or not, the more and more I think about this, I find that highly unlikely. Yeah. I mean, the fight that here's the deal, right? We got Khabib, we got fucking Tony, and we got Conor. That's the trifecta, right? Mm-hmm. Realistically, I don't think that Conor fights till next summer at this point. And more than likely, I think he forces the UFC's hand. Khabib and Tony fight each other first, and the winner of that fight, I think, will get Conor in the summer. The fight that I would most like to see out of that trio is definitely Conor versus Khabib. No doubt about it. Any of those fights work. Khabib versus Tony works. Tony versus Conor, like there's no bad fight there. But the biggest, best fight for me, Conor for sure. But I think the most likely fight we get next is probably Khabib versus Tony, because Conor's going to fucking play big dick with the UFC for a while and build that fight up. You know what I'm saying?
Who are you picking that fight, Khabib and Conor? That's a hard fight to pick, in my opinion.
Oh God, this is the fight that I've been dreading, man. Right? You know, this is who was it that fought recently? RDA fought somebody else I hated, and it was like you know, either way, I hated both those fucking fighters. This will be the anti that. I've always been a massive Khabib fan and a massive Conor fan. Fuck, I don't know, man. I think and I hate to do this fence ride and shit, but I think the first round and a half belongs to Conor, and after that, it's all Khabib.
That is pretty crazy.
I think Conor could knock him out in the first round or the first 2 or 3 minutes of the fight. I think if Khabib gets his hands on Conor once and takes him down, the fight's probably over. It might not end until the 3rd or 4th round, but I think if Khabib gets one takedown in that first round, he will sap Conor's will to continue that fight. And that's from a fucking bona fide Conor nut hugger, Jack. But let's be honest. Conor does gas. The motherfucker went and fought Floyd Mayweather and still gassed. Mm-hmm. 3 things in life are sure. God damn it. Death, taxes, and Conor gassing. Happen for sure. The question is, can he knock you out before he gasses? With most people, he can.
Yeah, and the thing is that the problem here, and Jesse can pick it up here. The problem is Khabib having to take down Conor. Conor can get taken down, but he's not bad at popping back up. And as John Smith in the comments says, there's 5 rounds, but you stand in each. Like you start standing, right? So until you get Conor to the ground, if you're Khabib, it's going to be kind of a hard one. I don't think Khabib's striking skills match up to Conor's.
No, they don't. But I mean, also, you look at what happened with Edson Barbosa. Edson Barbosa is also one of those guys where like every round starts standing and he has an opportunity to knock you out. Mm-hmm. And Khabib just kind of bulldog his way into the guard, put him up against the fence. And, I think it was Luke Thomas that was talking about his takedown. It was like the first one's not very good. The second one's better. And the third one's unstoppable. I mean, his chain wrestling is so good and so persistent and so heavy. I mean, it's just a matter of time of taking you down. I think what we talked about in our preview show is exactly what I was alluding to. the fact that Barbosa was able to hang in there for those 3 rounds, you know, it is a testament to the fact that he, you know, thought that there was a way that he could win that fight, whether it was standing, whether it was on the ground. And even when he was taken down and beaten up and everybody was like, yeah, he's going to break, you know, he would find a way to get back up or survive the round and stuff. And, you know, he actually stopped like a takedown in the 3rd round, right? So, I mean.
Oh, shit, disappeared.
Damn, son. That was a quick disappearance, too. God damn it, Jesus just got abducted by aliens, Jack.
Again.
That motherfucker just disappeared.
That happens all the fucking time. This dude just gets taken. This is someone calling Liam Neeson for this shit. All right. And then check it out, dude. Gary Costen in the shout out in the comments says, shout out to the K-Dub fam, courtesy of local shit and stuff. Hashtag Gem City Jesus.
Hey, what's up, G Money?
That's your boy. All right. So let's just talk about the main event, man, while we wait for good old Jesus to get back. Obviously, you know, Chris Cyborg gets a decision win over Holly Holm. Holly Holm, you got to give her credit for lasting 5 rounds and not getting knocked out and shit. Her face looked fucked up, real fucked up after the fight. And Cyborg looked like she barely took a scratch. But what'd you think of Holly Holm's, you know, like her performance in this one?
Admirable, man. Admirable. She went 5 rounds with her. She did not, you know, try to rely on the takedown. She, you know, basically boxed and struck with her for 25 minutes and never really looked like she was close to getting finished. Took a bit of a beating, definitely lost the fight, no doubt about it. But I thought she did very well. And I'll tell you what, man, there are 2 sides of this coin with Cyborg. I am going to give her the props that I think that I have not given her, that she is properly deserved at this point, because I do think that Holly was a worthy competitor to her. And she did beat her fair and square, all things considered. You got to call him as you see him. I've been saying that Cyborg has not got that fight to prove it. Well, she just got it, and she won. Although she didn't get the massive finish that she gets against other foes, she did win in a dominant fashion. So I got to take my hat off to her. That being said, I'm still going to be the hating cocksucker I am, and I'm fucking telling you boys, just like I'm saying it about goddamn RDA, and just like I'm saying it about fucking GSP, y'all can mark it down, put it in the book, do whatever y'all want. Don't make women like that. Listen, all bullshit aside, when I was watching the weigh-ins, I don't remember whether it was the ceremonial bullshit or whether it was the legit ones. Or not the weigh-ins. Oh yeah, the weigh-ins where they do the face-off.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the fucking muscle definition on Cyborg's arm and shoulder, and then looking at Holly's. Now Holly's wasn't flabby; she was in great shape. It just looked different. It just looked different, man. I'm no fucking Chael Sonnen. I've never used steroids. I don't know. But goddamn it, I gotta say that I still got a suspicion. Now I understand that USADA's doing their thing. She gets tested a lot. Look, I don't know how she's skirting the issue, but I still think that somehow or another that bitch is cheating. I'm sorry.
Hey Fred, are you taking up a position with Jackson Wink then as their new social?
Hey, listen, no, let me address that too. I am a bird of shit. I don't get paid or employed by nobody. I can call her a man if I want, because I employ my motherfucking self. If I ever get credentialed to a UFC event, I will shut the fuck up and watch my mouth. But for now, I get to say whatever the fuck I want. He was a dumbass. Fucking, you see that tweet? And I guess Eddie said that it was just some shitbird on Twitter trolling anyway.
Yeah, so Super Calo's an actual photographer, but he loves to troll people on Twitter, right? So he's pretending it was him, but it wasn't him. This guy was named Mark Aragon or something like that, out of Jackson Wink, right? And so okay, so
hold on, wait a minute though. Okay, dude did you know, troll me or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But what I found funny was the response to his tweet. Okay, so he tweeted out some bullshit like, you know, shit got taken the wrong way. I lost my credentials, blah, blah, which he did lose his credentials. That part was true. He did get the UFC did strip his credentials, so he's not allowed to do photography for no more for UFC events or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But people's responses was what I thought was fucking hilarious. I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter going, "Oh, this ain't fair. What about what Dana White said about her? Or what about Joe Rogan? Are you motherfuckers smoking crack? Did y'all really just compare a fucking Jackson Wink photographer to fucking DW, which was basically Jesus Christ in the MMA world? Fucking photographer wasn't even Mary Magdalene. He wasn't even a hooer. He's a nobody. He's an ass fuck loser that does not get to disrespect the champion like that. I think she's cheating and half a man too. But you can't say that. And I mean, what the fuck? I don't know. I think that shit's ridiculous. I think everybody trying to compare what Joe Rogan and Dana White said to what this photographer done is fucking stupid too. Of course, they're not going to ban Dana White. Can't ban himself, you fucking retards, and they're definitely not going to ban Joe Rogan. Fuck.
Yeah. Jesse, since we're on that real quick, let's just hit that. What were your thoughts on that whole thing that went down with the photographer? Because for anyone that missed, here's what happened. This dude posted on his own Instagram that he started going off talking shit about how. Basically referring to Cyborg as a he the entire time. People got upset, everyone gets offended about everything. And then this is what I found funny is that then Jackson Wink's Facebook posted this non-apology. It was like a fucking explanation of why their fucking social media guy or their photographer acted the way he did. Here's the thing. That same guy controls the social media. He wrote the damn fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? And then he posted this fucking apology on his own fucking Instagram. It's just, the whole thing's fucking hilarious. I don't give two shits that he got banned. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But it does send a message that, that shit's not going to be tolerated. But what were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Look, man, I mean, I guess this is a lesson for everybody out there that wants to be in the space of like MMA media. Like, the fighters are real accessible, and you get to know some of them. They're real friendly. You get to be really friendly with them. Maybe you even get to text and be on a first name basis. Some of them even like start becoming like really good friends with you. They'll invite you to stuff, you'll go hang out and stuff like that. But even still, when you become the best of friends with somebody, if you're in this business of being in MMA media, you have to remain neutral. Whether your emotion is that someone is being disrespected and that's your friend and you're going to try to defend them, whatever, you can't have that boil over onto something like this, because I mean, it's just professionalism, right? At this point, like, you have to remain professional. You have to, be the better man and say, okay, so the other person won, wasn't our time. Next time we'll get them or whatever, you just got to suck it up. And, it just really irks me that someone like this thinks that it's okay to have this type of, social media spew this like vomit onto social media and then justify it by saying, oh, well, they were talking crap about Holly in the van ride back to the hotel. So what? We didn't hear any of that, and there's no proof that really happened. So how do we know it's just like you not making a bit of an excuse?
And
Go
look,
ahead, Fred.
And look,
you're contradicting me here.
No, not at all. And look, what's funny about it is, this Jackson Wink. Okay, so it wasn't the photographer, but their Twitter account just went through some shit like this too, with some racist shit over Aljamain Sterling. So quite frankly, it seems like it might just be some Jackson Wink shit. I don't know what's up with the photographers or the social media guys. Like, what the fuck, bro?
I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that controls the Twitter. I'm pretty sure. Not 100% sure, but there was talk that he's their social media guy.
Well, let me hysterical.
Let me ask you this, Eddie. Is this also the same person that forced Jackson and Winklejohn to make a video to Kadyrov, that dictator over in the Middle East, and say, oh, thank you for all the people you send over. We really appreciate everything you do for us, and we can't wait to come visit you.
Right, and that's a good point. Also, Winklejohn's Instagram account posted that picture. It's like one of them is John F. Kennedy saying we're gonna put a man on the moon, and then the other half is Obama saying I'm gonna put a man in the women's bathroom, and it says what the fuck? So I mean, it's possible. It could be a whole gym thing, but.
Look. I think that this is starting to reveal itself as maybe Dana White was correct that these guys are these scumbag type of guys. I mean, maybe not just like scumbags, but maybe they're just they turned a blind eye to whatever is happening in their gym, and they don't really care the kind of atmosphere they create in the gym. It could be that they're just racist. It could be that they're bigots. It could be that they're whatever. But you see how this non-apology that they put out, and then again, like I said, that video from a year ago, thanking Kadyrov for all the things he does for the gym and the people they send and all that stuff. I mean, that sends a horrible message. I mean, a lot of fighters have distanced themselves from this guy, and these guys don't even mention that. They're just like, whatever, that's what we do. So it's either that they're okay with everything that's happening in their gym, or they just don't care. And both things are terrible.
And you know what? It fucking makes sense too. Fucking Greg Jackson.
Why in your gym?
Corner.
Yeah.
What's that?
What was it, Fred?
I was saying it makes sense too. Greg Jackson always in the corner talking about fucking waterfalls and trying to calm people down. He probably is a fucking snaky little prick. Nobody's that calm and collected and cool and good natured.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know, man. I think this is a thing of the gym starting to fall apart, and we're starting to really see what these guys really think of or what they are really like. I mean, do we really know what these guys are personally? No, because they're pretty to themselves. They keep to themselves a lot, and I think a lot of these things are starting to filter out, and we're starting to get a better picture of the type of mentality they have in the gym that they kind of create around themselves.
Okay. So, yeah, Jackson Wink, shitbirds for all of me. Fuck them. B, what the fuck are we going to do with 45 now? Like,
look.
Are we going to keep that division? Or are we going to just trash Cyborg? Like, where do we even go from here?
Well, here's the problem. Besides Holly Holm, even Holly Holm's not a 145. She's a 135, right?
Right. So there's no 45ers.
We got Cyborg and we got Megan Anderson with a fucking visa problem, and she can't even get a legit fight.
Come on, let's be real, man. Who really fucking thinks Megan Anderson's going to beat Cyborg? I mean, real shit. Nobody. No, it's another body. Yeah. Like we got to do something different for Cyborg, man. They gotta, I don't know. I hate to say it, but I think we need a season of tough. We need a bunch of new blood, man.
If we're gonna keep 145, Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, and we gotta keep 145 unless we get rid of Cyborg. And pretty much got too much money in her at this point. We gotta. They ain't letting her go. Fuck no. So Bellator can take her.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Jesse.
No. Exactly what Fred said. I mean, you already invested the money. You're already in it this far. You can't just throw it away. I mean, the best you can do is just start bringing people over. Like Fred said last week, I think we were talking about this, right? You gut Invicta again. You put them all in a house for, another season of tough. And then you get, at least 2-3 people, women out of there that you can put up against Cyborg. That covers you at least for a year. And then you just hope to God that more women show up to fight her eventually, right?
Yeah.
And I've been saying this too, man. I would go out and throw a ton of cash at that broad who beat fucking Cyborg in a Muay Thai fight, man.
Bars?
Yeah, is it Joanne Bars? I think I'm wrong.
Like that, yeah.
I think I got the first name wrong, but it's Karina Bars, yeah. She beat fucking Cyborg in a Muay Thai fight. Get her. And again, I know that I'm probably off with this, but the one broad that Cyborg was boxing or sparring with, the professional boxer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how, female boxing contracts work, but I can't imagine it's like Floyd Mayweather shit, get her in the house, man. There that we can actually get excited that might fuck Cyborg up. It's almost like the Mighty Mouse thing, man.
Yeah.
Watch people fight the champion where we just know. Like with Holly, you at least thought maybe Cyborg might lose. There was some excitement there. Megan Anderson or anybody else we can name at this point, there's zero excitement. Get the fuck out of here. The only I would watch fight Cyborg and even get remotely excited for at this point is Amanda Nunes. And she's made it clearly obvious that she don't really want those problems either. So I'm at a loss for Cyborg.
Yeah, and it's not like they're gonna throw enough money for Ronda to come back and get massacred. So that's not gonna happen either.
Good Lord, I mean, we don't want to see that anyways. I mean, at this point, we kind of know how that one goes.
Oh, yeah. Real quick on the YouTube comments, Raider Jet, what up? She says they're talking about Greg Jackson. She says there's such a huge gym. They're basically giving the middle finger. And then about this one, about Megan Anderson, she goes, "Fuck Anderson. She's full of shit. Something else is going on besides the visa issue." It's possible. I don't know what it would be. So if you have any idea, let us know. But it's just a big fucking problem. All right. Let's move on. Anything else you guys want to bring up about 219 before we can move on?
Nothing about.
What's up, Jesse?
I just wanted to say, Fred, if you guys haven't listened to Fred's most recent podcast, go check that out. He covers some really interesting topics, and I always like to give Fred some love. I just listened to it today, and it's a pretty awesome podcast. Pretty interesting topics there, Fred.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'm trying to pride myself on maybe talking about shit that a lot of people don't want to talk about because I don't give a fuck about my reputation. I have no reputation. I'm not sponsored by nobody. I don't give a shit if I piss people off. So if it's offensive, fuck you. And if you appreciate it, cool.
Although, how about this, Fred? I don't know about your position on pedophiles, though. I think you should clear that up eventually. That's just a teaser for whoever hasn't listened to that podcast. But
that's a good teaser.
That's a really good teaser. Fuck. Oh,
now, I won't even fucking get into that right now, boys.
Yeah. All right. well, yeah. Just go listen to the episode. Believe me. Just go listen to it.
Yeah,
all
check it out.
Yeah. All right. Raider says USADA. It might be the issue with Megan Anderson. It's possible. You never know.
Yeah, that's what I think too. That's what the homie Kyle was saying. He was actually saying that it's kind of funny that we give Megan Anderson this big pass, and she clearly just kind of pulled some bullshit. Like she said she wanted the fight, then she got the fight, and then backed out, and just still hasn't said why. But it's not an injury. I mean, I suppose it could be anything, but get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. This isn't a taking an amateur fight or a one-off in the UFC. This is the big one. Like, I would imagine you should need a pretty good excuse for not wanting this fucking fight.
No, for sure. All right, let's move on, dude. So I don't know if you guys were listening today. Joe Rogan had Jeff Nowitzki on for the second time, the Golden Snitch. Which, by the way, he don't like that nickname, but fuck him. You're the Golden Snitch, bitch.
It's the best nickname ever.
Fuck yeah. It's the best nickname ever. So now the Golden Snitch, he says that he doesn't believe that John Jones intentionally cheated either time, apparently. He believes John Jones that it was just some kind of tainted supplement he didn't mean to take. Fred, you were really upset about John Jones this year. Pulling that bullshit and basically taking himself out of being a champion. What do you think about these new comments?
Listen, I have not heard the podcast yet. I was going to listen to it tonight. I haven't gotten around to it yet, so I'm going to listen to it. So I don't know the context of everything.
Okay.
But just based upon the statements, I don't give a fuck. You do not get to tell me what you think John Jones' intentions were. Okay? Like at a certain point, we can all assume what the fuck his intentions were. Did he have steroids in his system when he fought Daniel Cormier that night?
It's a positive.
How they got there does become slightly irrelevant. Listen, I suppose if somehow they could prove it was tainted cocaine, I would probably back off a little bit, but I don't know how you could ever prove that.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What, you think the cocaine dealer is going to come up and fucking be like, yeah, my shit's laced with T-ball?
No, you just prove some of that and be like, here's some of this illegal stuff. Please test it to make sure I'm right.
I mean, yeah, but that would mean that the coke dealer always cuts his coke with T-ball, which I don't know how many coke dealers you know. I've met a few in my day. It's not something you use to cut cocaine with. There are a lot cheaper white substances out there that you can use to cut that shit with than fucking Tyranobol. Like, there's no fucking way he's going to go cop a G from his local coke dealer. And listen, John Jones has got bread. He goes to people that get good coke. He's not getting screwed over. And I mean, I want to believe that, but I just find that so highly unlikely that he could go cop more coke and prove that in any type of realistic capacity. And as far as his intentions go, I mean, even with the dick pills and all, like, how the fuck do we know? As much as I like the Golden Snitch, how does he know what John Jones' intentions were? I mean, and listen, I get it. Why would John Jones do that? Knowing he's going to get tested, I do understand that it looks suspicious. And to that, I don't really have an answer. I don't know why he would do that, but the other alternatives seem highly fucking unlikely too, man. You know?
I guess I'm like Fred. I haven't heard the specifics of the podcast. I have it downloaded on my phone for later tonight. I think we've all kind of seen the evidence of like he didn't test positive a few weeks prior, and then that was a clean test, and now like this one right before the fight is the one that popped, and it would still be in the system. In the prior one, that one didn't test hot, so it's like I get where if you look at just like the evidence that is out there, you could say it just doesn't seem like this is something that he was doing and we just caught him. This is more like something happened in this time frame that we cannot explain. It may be unintentional, and I get that sense, but I'm with Fred. I mean, at this point, we've caught you twice for illegal substance. You're a screw up. You're a habitual screw up. I mean, I don't think there's much more to the story here. I mean, he's just gotta wait out his suspension, and if he wants to come back after that, then fine. Up until then, John Jones doesn't exist.
Yeah, and until then, DC's still the champion. So,
yep.
Because I don't know. I know he's fighting Ozumi. We'll talk about that when the fight comes up. All right. Let's go ahead and do our awards here because we're kind of running out of time here. Let's get into it. First one, craziest story. Basically, the craziest story of the year in MMA. Jesse, you want to kick that off?
Sure. I just wrote down Conor McGregor because the entire year was plagued with Conor McGregor. If he was going to come back to the UFC, if he was going to fight Mayweather, if he was going to fight, Khabib in Russia, if he was going to fight Khabib in Russia right after the Mayweather fight. I mean, pretty much the whole year was saturated with Conor, and there was nary a moment in this entire year where something wasn't happening with Conor. Or, the fanboys like Fred over here was oohing and ahhing over something that Conor was doing. So even here at the end of the year, he got into an altercation with some mobsters and he had a hit out on him. He went to go pay a ticket and was an hour later or whatever to his court. So, I mean, pretty much the whole year was, for me, plagued with Conor McGregor's story. So I thought he was the craziest story of this year.
Okay. Can I go?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, we have craziest and you have biggest as two different categories, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. For me, then, in that context with these topics, the craziest story of the year for me was what we was just discussing, John Jones. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I really took this shit seriously, dude. John Jones was our fucking living Michael Jordan, man. Finding out that he was possibly, more than likely a cheater was like when I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real. It was bad stuff, man. Like, that was the craziest story of the year for me. Finding out that, it wasn't coke, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it was an actual steroid. And then all the crazy shit that came with it. Like, he just went through all this shit to get back. Mm-hmm. He finally got back. He finishes DC with a fucking head kick. We're talking about him versus Brock Lesnar. My dick's hard as a fucking rock. And boom, fucking 24 hours later, he's a cheater. He's gone for 4 years possibly. And the whole fucking sport's different. So craziest story of the year was John fucking cocksucking Jones.
And I'm with you on that. John Jones, the way just when you said everything I wanted to say. Michael Jordan of our sport, fucking taking himself out of everything. Like, and DC said it a million times. People got mad at him for saying it, but he's goddamn right. John Jones beat himself. No one else could beat John Jones but himself. And that's how it worked. And it's just, and I know, Golden Snitch today was saying, like, I don't believe that he, intentionally took steroids or not. Whether or not he took them or not, he fucked that up. That was on him. Ignorance is not an excuse. It is not an excuse. You know what I mean? So it's just, that to me was just crazy. Like, I mean, what other sports have we had, like, fucking some of the best names ever? Every sport has a story like that. So
no, but I would disagree to an extent that not like this.
Okay.
Not like this. I mean, John Jones was undefeated in a sport where nobody goes undefeated. He fucking beat Shogun and Rampage and Lyoto Machida when it actually meant a lot. I mean, that dude was a bit different. I can't think of nobody quite like him. There are cases like that, and team sports are different because you can't accomplish so much. But I don't know, man. I've never seen nothing like John Jones, man. Undefeated in a sport like MMA at the highest level. I mean, when he was on his game, he was the best we've ever seen do it, man. And, you know, just at the peak of his game after all the drama, the coke, the wreck, fucking the strippers. I mean, thing after thing being so good. It's not like he was one of our champions. He was the fucking champion, man. He was the guy. Like Conor might have been this big star and Brock Lesnar might have been a big star. But when you talk about who the baddest motherfucker in the UFC was, for a long time, knew it was fucking Johnny Bones Jones. What the fuck? Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
God, Jesus. Fred sounding like a disgruntled ex-girlfriend over here.
It's fucking rough, man.
We might as well all be. Shit, he fucked everybody over. Real quick on the YouTube comments, Kevin says USADA is ruining the sport. Possible. I know. It depends. It depends. But
look, we can't have it both ways, right? Like that's pretty much what that comes down to. We can't have it both ways. We can't have it ruining the sport and cleaning up the sport.
Look,
I mean,
we could either have a clean sport or we could have pro wrestling. That's kind of how where I see it. Yeah, that's where I see it. All right. And they're talking about cocaine. John Smith says cocaine is a bitch. And then Raider says he was out here by Disneyland. Probably got some of that Mickey Mouse coke. He was out in Arizona for Thanksgiving and shit. I'm like, he was in Scottsdale. All those chicks out there in Old Town Scottsdale be sniffing some of that shit. So he probably found some. Anyway. All right. Moving on to the next category. Now we're talking about biggest moment. What is the biggest moment of the year? It could be your favorite moment. It could be to what in your mind is the biggest moment in MMA. Kick it off here with Fred.
Listen. This is why I specifically did not pick this for the last fucking award, but it was Conor Floyd, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest moment in MMA this year was in a boxing ring, man. There was nothing bigger than Conor McGregor actually boxing. Dude, it feels like a dream now. When I think back on it, it's like I can't really believe that actually happened. Conor in there with his silly white gloves, fucking getting the snot knocked out of his nose, land that fucking famous uppercut that actually kind of surprised Floyd. For all of me, that's the one punch he landed.
Yeah,
like, that was the one punch that I think Floyd bobbed when he should have weaved, and actually Conor actually punched him when he didn't expect it to be coming. But that was the biggest moment, man. I mean, how could it almost not be? If you want to keep it in the MMA sphere, you could pick something different. But as far as big moments go, hell, that's probably the biggest moment in MMA ever. I mean, that was huge.
Jesse.
I refuse to pick that because, like Fred just said, you have, like, to me, this is our sport. This is what makes our sport different than boxing. And that's boxing. And I believe Fred is correct in saying that was probably one of the biggest moments in, like, combat sports.
Yeah.
But I think in our sport, in our little realm here in MMA, I think GSP's return was the biggest moment of this year. I think seeing him come back and beat Michael Bisping, and not just that, but the speculation of what he was going to do in that fight and everything and how that was going to turn out and him winning. And then everything that happened after that, I mean, that's just, to me, that was the biggest moment. Seeing that someone was able to take the shine away from Conor McGregor for a brief moment, and we were actually saying that GSP's return could, take away all the control that Conor McGregor has, and now the UFC could make him do things because now they had another star. I mean, all that rolled into everything, to me, made it the biggest moment.
Okay. John Smith says, hell no, he was a cash grab. Yeah. And it probably was. I mean, he's not. I don't see him coming back either. I think Dana White said something recently about. Yeah, I don't think he's coming back. I'm with Raider here. To me, the biggest moment was another great falling. Someone that I mean, we always have these fighters that they're gonna retire undefeated. Ronda Rousey thought she was going to retire undefeated, and then Joanna Champion thought she was going to retire undefeated. It's her destiny. And Rose Namajunas said, "Fuck all that shit," knocked her out in the first round. To me, that was the biggest moment, honestly. Because we saw the culmination of an entire career finally come down, and you had the biggest, baddest chick at 115, but the biggest, baddest chick in women's combat sports at the moment, or arguably, getting taken out by a quiet girl with, who Joanna kept saying, was mentally weak, and she was, quiet and all this shit and getting knocked out by her. So I'm with Raider. Rose knocking out Joanna on Jacek, to me, was probably the biggest moment. And that might just because it's like a soft spot for me with having followed Rose since the beginning. All right, moving on, next category, fight of the year, Jesse.
No, we don't have
fight of the year. To me, it had to be Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson. Just because that's the fight you can point to anybody, literally, an old fan, a new fan, a fan that's fallen off the sport, and just get them to enjoy this sport once again. I mean, it had the highs, the lows, and the dramatic finish. So to me, there's nothing better than a Justin Gaethje fight, and that Gaethje versus Michael Johnson had it all. So that was for me the fight of the year.
All right, Fred.
Yeah, man, I definitely do not want to double up on picks, but it's hard to pick anything other than the Gaethje Michael Johnson fight. I could go with what is it? The Brazilian Cowboy and Yancy Medeiros.
Yeah,
that was just a few weeks back. That was a hell of a fucking fight. Was it Lando Venata and Tamura? They had a fucking fantastic fight earlier this year. Lots of good fights, but I think all in all, fucking Jesus nailed it though. Really, I was going to say the Eddie Alvarez Justin Gaethje fight was a good
crazy
fucking fight. Actually, yeah, maybe. Which fight do you guys like more, the Gaethje Michael Johnson or the Gaethje Alvarez fight?
I like Gaethje Johnson because I mean, that was just a freaking brawl.
Yeah. Yep. I think that was the fight of the year, man. It was.
You can't go wrong with either one, right? I mean, either one you can just point to, and it's just a badass fight. It's a Justin Gaethje fight.
Yeah, to me, 1A was Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson at Tough 25, and then 1B was Yancy versus Oliveira. That was both fights, just insane. It was really a lot of fucking fun to watch. All right, and let's move on here to the next one. Sub of the year, submission of the year. We have quite a few candidates. To me, one stands above all, so I'll just go first. Demetrius Johnson going the suplex to the armbar, the way it went down, the transition on it. Goddamn. I mean, to me, if you do a submission and the next day people are trying it on the mats the way me and my friends fucking did, and failed miserably, I mean, you got to know you have one of the best submissions. So to me, it was Demetrius Johnson subbing Ray Borg via armbar. The suplex to armbar transition was just beautiful. Jesse, what are you picking?
Damn it, that was gonna be my pick. So I have a second, just in case you guys picked that one or made it not to make it a unanimous pick. So I went with Brett Johns' calf slicer on
Joe Soto. Yeah, that was a quick one too.
Great implementation of a very, very tough technique to pull off, especially you're getting punched and everything. It was just a beautiful, beautiful submission. But yeah, my tie for number one would have been the Mighty Mouse armbar. That was just a beautiful finish as well. So, but for me, the calf slicer.
Gotcha. Fred.
I'll tell you what, I seen everybody was saying that they were picking the Mighty Mouse, the Mighty Whiz bar. Not me, Jack. I suppose I'm a Mighty Mouse hater. Listen, was that submission brilliant?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have I ever seen anything like that? Nope, sure haven't. And the fact that it was a championship fight, no matter how undeserving I feel like Ray Borg was for the shot, it was a championship fight, so the competition level was there. Said, I feel like any other fucking weight division, there's no way that Ray Borg even sniffs a title shot. Demetrius Johnson was way above him in every capacity. And, I don't know. That's why I'm not particularly giving that submission of the year. I know a lot of people would call that sacrilege. They can suck my dick. I am giving my submission of the year award to T-City.
Oh, yeah.
Cub Swanson in the middle of fucking air like he was goddamn it fishing.
Yeah.
And just his overall submission capabilities tie into this pick for me, too. That submission was brilliant. But I also feel like his BJJ may very well be the best in the sport right now. Maybe. definitely at where the fuck they at 45.
Yeah,
definitely at featherweight. His BJJ is by far the best at featherweight, and it might be the best in the sport right now. So for me, T City pulling off the fucking standing guillotine on a very, very savvy Cub Swanson, a no joke Cub Swanson. All due respect to Ray Borg, I think Cub Swanson is a lot tougher out than Ray Borg, respectively.
and I'd probably say that's true. I mean, you know, depending, especially how it's going. John Smith says, "Fuck Fred, I'll ankle pick him."
Doubtful.
Well, you know, who's there was a lot of ankle picking jokes this year, so I can't remember who it was. All right, moving on to the next one.
Tony Ferguson.
That's right, Tony Ferguson. All right, next one. That's right, because we're going back and forth at the luncheon. That's right. Okay. Knockout of the year. I have a feeling we're gonna have a hard time being different here, but we'll start off with Fred.
Well, listen, should I just steal everybody's pick and pick Francis Ngannou? I mean, is there any other? Did any other knockout happen? I mean, there's like the Francis Ngannou Overeem knockout, and then there's a bunch of honorable mentions, right? Like that's the one. He pretty much killed dude. And then there's, you know, there's lots of Matt Brown knocking out Diego Sanchez with that elbow was beautiful. What's the fucking bald prick with the colorful arms that knocked out fuck.
Oh, Josh Emmett.
Yeah, Josh Emmett. That was a fucking clean knockout too.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck, it's Francis Ngannou. That's my pick for knockout of the year. He fucking straight snuffed over it.
I take that's mine too. And the new you never saw speaker before. I think the UFC put it in their new promo for Ngannou versus Miocic. The picture of Alistair Overeem on the mat, head cocked back, eyes rolled in the back of his head. That is some soul stealing shit power that fucking Ngannou has. So I mean, I wanted to pick Emmett, but goddamn, man, goddamn, Jesse.
Wow. Okay, so good thing I picked something different because I figured you guys would pick the Ngannou fight. And Fred's right. That is probably one of the most brutal knockouts we have seen in a long time. But I went with Edson Barbosa flying knee to Dariush earlier this year. Just the time and the technique of that flying knee was so beautiful. And Dariush just was stretched out for quite a long time, probably longer than Overeem. And I think he had to get stretchered out too. So, I mean, and that was for me.
All right. And John Smith says, how about next year, Brock Lesnar versus Francis Ngannou? I would not put that past the UFC trying to do that shit.
Shit, I put it past Brock accepting that fight.
Oh yeah, fuck that, bro. Well, depending on the paycheck. And like, think about it. He'll take a huge paycheck and take that big ass fine for testing positive for steroids. He don't give a fuck.
Shit. He better go look at his fight against Overeem. And then look at what Ngannou did to Overeem and just keep his funny ass in the WWE before he gets himself killed.
Yeah, and John Smith saying he basically you have to bank out the takedown, but you got to get past some fucking fists, man. That's the crazy part. All right, moving on to the last two categories here. Ladies go first. Female fighter of the year, Jesse.
I thought we had 3 more that you added there.
Which one? Did I lose it? Oh shit! Where'd it go?
Breakout and event.
Wait a minute.
Damn,
there.
A whole little.
Bro, hold up a second. I lost my list. There it is. Sorry. All right, we got a bunch more. Let's go with event of the year. Or Jesse. Yeah, Jesse.
Okay, I guess I get to steal everybody's. Hopefully, I think we're all on the same page. Maybe not, but to me, UFC 217 just had the most epic moments. I mean, every champion lost on that fight card. They were all great fights. None of them were like, I could have done without. It was all an emotional roller coaster that night. So UFC 217 for me.
All right, Jesse or Fred.
I mean, yeah, we just kind of can pretty much clean up this category. There was nothing that really came close to that card this year. Conor didn't compete in MMA. We didn't have the Ronda fight. John Jones fought one time, but the rest of that card was nowhere. Didn't live up to this one. So. Yeah, 217 was by far and away the card of the year for sure.
My UFC 217, and I kept saying this after the event. All the shit talkers lost. They all lost their belts. Anyone that talked shit and got crazy and little bullyish or whatever you want to call it, they lost their belt. So it was what I called it. I called it a victory for people that take the high road everywhere. That's the way I saw it. That was a victory for all people that take the high road, for all these motherfuckers that talk all this shit. All right, breakout fight of the year. We should get a couple of different ones here. Start off here with Fred.
Yeah, man, there's a few people you could plug in here, man. But breakout fighter of the year, for me, I've got to go with Volkan Ozdemir. At the beginning of the year, I didn't even know who this prick was. And I mean, you know, what the fuck, right? Now he's fighting DC in like fucking 14 days for the belt, man. Phenomenal year, going from literal unknown to title challenger. And not only a title challenger, but a title challenger with some legit hype that like you know, obviously after this fight, if DC does what DC does, then we'll all look back and go, okay, well, of course we knew that was going to happen. But going into it, you can make the mysterious case that maybe this big fucking Swede has these crazy knockout power and could sleep DC.
Yeah. Jesse.
Volkan.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, for not even being in the UFC in 2016, and then basically February, what was it? 4th was his first fight in the UFC against OSP. Then he rattled off 2 more wins after that, and now he has a title shot. I mean, there's nobody that even comes close to that. So Volkan Ozdemir.
All right, and I want Francis Ngannou, man. The fact that he made a name this big of himself, for sure. Like, sure enough, we had a lot of questions of him. People do doubt him. What if he gets taken down? All that shit. I mean, he submitted. Was it Anthony Hamilton? He subbed him, and then just winning by knockout left and right. He's one of the scary. He's like the Mike Tyson we've been waiting for. And he just brought himself to a level where he's fighting for the title. And I mean, there's very few people that think that Miocic's going to beat him. I'm one of them, but still.
That is definitely my co-runner-up, for sure. Because he had a little bit of hype, but the hype behind him now is unfucking real. Like, I had a clue who Ngannou was coming into the year, so that's why I did not pick him. But I think at this point right now, Ngannou has way more hype than Volkan does.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Volkan made a higher descent. I didn't know who the fuck that dude was. Like, I'd never even heard his name before. And now he's the shit. Like, I kind of thought, you know, maybe Ngannou could have been a thing. Like, I'd at least seen him fight a couple times.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on to upset of the year. There's a couple ones you can go with here. I think there's going to be one dominant one. We'll see. Jesse, you start.
I actually went back and looked at this. What was it? The odds on this one, and to me, this was one of the most like illogical person to win the fight, and that was Darren Elkins over Masad Bektik.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like I think he was a plus 520 to Bektik 759 minus 759. So I mean, it was basically a done deal that Masad was gonna whoop on this kid, and I mean Darren Elkins. I mean, not only did he overcome a lot, but he showed why he has that damage tattoo on his chest, because he took damage and then he dished it out. Man, what a great fight, and that was definitely an upset of the year for me.
All right, Fred.
Yeah, man, I was actually going to pick that one. That's definitely But you listen, that was also, I don't know if that was more the biggest upset or the biggest comeback, because he was actually getting the fuck beat out of him that whole fight too before he fucking lands that. I think it was like a head kick or something that he hit dude with. But let's just, for the shits and gigs, biggest upset of the year for me was Rose Namajunas fucking knocking out JJ, man. Like, that was fucking, I did not see that coming. Even if I thought maybe Rose could win the fight, I didn't think she would win it like that fast, Jack. I didn't think she would start her in the first round.
Dude, Thug Rose all the way from me. The way, I mean, knocking her out. I mean, come on, knocking her out. Everyone was like, nobody said this shit could happen. Everyone said if Rose was gonna win this fight, it was gonna be by submission, not even by decision. She had to submit her, or that was it. And for her to knock Joanna Jędrzejczyk out in the first round was just incredible. To me, that was the biggest upset. And Uncle Hank Drinking Buddy agrees. He says Rose. By the way, he says Volkan is Swiss. Okay.
Yeah. But both of his fights were big upsets too, especially the Jimmy Manuel one. That's what I thought. I'm like, okay, this Vulcan prick's cute, but tonight he gets it.
Yeah. All right. Now we go with female fighter of the year, Jesse.
You and I were discussing this a little bit, and I figured both of you would have the same pick. I've been wrong a couple times here because obviously I don't know the way Fred thinks apparently, but I went with Cyborg. I think Fred convinced me because the way he was talking about Cyborg is as how she hadn't been tested before. She's been dominant, but she really had a test ahead of her in Holly Holm, and she passed it with flying colors. You know, went out there, it showed that she can stick to a game plan, showed that she can be patient in the pocket, showed that she had, you know, just the proper awareness to be an all-around great mixed martial artist. And people thought that she was going to take her down and submit her, and that's not the way she went. She went just striking, patience, you know, and just did her thing. And I mean, to me, proved that she is the top female fighter in the world right now. So to me, she is the best fighter of the year.
All right, I'm gonna go with Rose Namajunas, man. The way, I mean, just it's hard for me to pick anybody else. I get it. She had a loss this year too, to Carolina. Was that earlier this year, like at the very beginning?
No, that was the end of last year.
Oh, never mind then. Fuck it. Rose Namajunas, really easy for me. All right, Fred.
Listen, you guys just nailed it. It has to be one of those two ladies. I would lean Rose because I'm a bigger Rose fan than Cyborg. But you are right, Jesse. Like I was saying, we were talking about Cyborg earlier. You've got to give credit where it's due. I said she needed the test. She got the test and she passed it. She had a great year. I don't know where she's at as far as her career goes. But Rose also had a great year too. That just the upset alone, just beating JJ like that, give her female fucking fighter of the year. So it really, certain other ladies, Cynthia Calvillo had a great streak going until that got upset. So, I mean, even with that loss, you could still maybe put her in this conversation. But at the end of the day, only two ladies had great years, Cyborg and Rose.
For sure. Yep. All right, male fighter of the year, Fred.
Now, this one's interesting. There are quite a few people you could put here. You could definitely put Ngannou here. You could put Vulcan here. You could put a bunch of people here. You could put even GSP's funny ass here. As much as I can't stand the little fucking prick, he did come back and have a crazy performance. But I'll tell you what I'm going to put here.
Let's say Conor McGregor, and then let's move on. Come on.
Calm down. I'm not that much of a nut hugger. You know, I'm actually going to, but I am going to give it to a fighter that I'm not really a massive fan of, but the prick had one hell of a year, man. Robert Whittaker.
Yep.
I did not think he would beat Yoel or Jacare. Fucking flat finished Jacare and threw Yoel a beating. And became the fucking champion. So I am not the biggest Robert Whittaker fan in the world, and I do think that he will lose to Luke Rockhold. But as of right now, 2017, he was the fucking man of the year for me, man. Impressive shit.
He made a strong case for sure. Jesse.
I agree with Fred, but I also think that he was an interim champion and he got gifted the actual belt after GSP gave it up and won it from Michael Bisping. So to me, that's pretty much the only thing that I held against Robert Whittaker, just because I want to see him get the natural title, have that continuance of the title, and all that. But I agree with Fred. It was a great year for him. But to me, the fighter of the year has to be Mighty Mouse for me. Kept his undefeated streak going, though he wasn't too active this year, 2 times this year, but he broke the record for the most title defenses. I mean, a guy that's able to dominate his division the way he is, I just think that to me makes him the male fighter of the year.
Definitely. And real quick, because this is my number 2 here, and I agree with Uncle Hank. Uncle Hank's drinking buddy says Max Holloway. My number 1, that was my number 2. My number 1, Demetrius Johnson. You submitted Wilson Heiss. One of the highest black belts in MMA. You subbed that dude, defending your belt twice, and then you pulled off the ridiculous suplex to armbar on Ray Borg and broke the title defense record. And you still flyweight champ. I mean, I think every other belt changed hands, right? Except for DC, maybe. Well, I mean, we can get into technicalities there, but still.
No, I thought he lost it at the beginning of the year, didn't he? Against John Jones, and he got it back, right? Wasn't it this year?
They gave it back to him, but that's said technicalities. John Jones lost it because he popped, so it's just a weird one. So we'll just count that as changing hands. But DJ, man, DJ still consistent, still a bad motherfucker, still good everywhere and getting better. And all you hope for is for the guy to finally fight someone that can fight back like TJ. But who knows?
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm sorry I can't give DJ Fighter of the Year. God damn it! As cute as Ray Borg and Wilson Hayes, or Hayes, however you pronounce that little prick's last name is, not TJ. If TJ can make 25, God damn it, DJ, stop making excuses. Let him make the weight, and you know, and don't get me wrong, I am in no way comparing DJ to Cyborg, but in that vein.
Right.
Beat TJ and I will shut the fuck up. Like that. If TJ makes 25 and you beat him, you gotta do it impressively. Just beat him.
Yeah.
And I'll forever bite my fucking tongue and I will bow down and give you the utmost. I tell you what, he beats TJ and I put him pound for pound. Like clearly, not that my fucking opinion matters that much, but I keep him out because of his level of competition. Okay. He beats TJ and I think he overrides everybody. Heads and shoulders.
Gotcha.
Can we talk about that real quick? Did you guys see the rankings? Conor McGregor moved up in the pound for pound rankings that came out just yesterday or today.
No. Where is he?
This entire year, and he's now the number 2 pound for pound fighter.
I mean,
so he fight, and now he's number 2. What the hell?
That's stupid.
Look, the rankings are a promo piece, nothing else. That's all it is. You rank a fighter higher when they're gonna get a fight. Like for example, if Nate ends up fighting Conor, all of a sudden he'll be the number 2 or number 3 155er. Just off of that, you'll see. And he hasn't fought in fucking forever. All right, fellas. Anything you guys want to hit before we head out?
Nope. I think that does it for the night, boys.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are some bad motherfuckers, man. We fucking had a blast with you guys. The chat has never been more interactive than it was this year. And we're looking forward to getting even better next year. You guys see all the Twitters down here. Follow all those. And again, we really appreciate the fuck out of you guys. I appreciate my co-hosts, Fred Kirby and Jesse Rubakawa. We had a hell of a fucking year, man. 17 away from 100 episodes of Keyboard Warriors. To see how far, as long as we can keep doing it every single week, we should be able to get there pretty quick. And of course, shout out to everyone that tuned in today. John Smith, Raider, Gary Coaston was here earlier, and Kevin, and did I miss somebody? I did. Uncle Hank's drinking buddy. Foul. My bad, dude. I can't believe I missed that guy. And anyone else that watched and tuned in this year, really appreciate the fuck out of you guys. Make sure you follow everybody down here. Go to repthewarriors.com, get some represent gear. Motherfuckers, y'all have a good fucking night, good week, good evening, good morning, depending where you are on the planet. Love and peace from all of us, and good night, Wilshire.